Well, you're the expert.
Sure.
If you were going to Waco for a weekend, you had disposable income and a football game to attend, what are you looking for?
Well, look, I'm a guy who loves certain foods, and also you gotta understand the area a bit. So Waco is one part New Growth, Texas, which has had a tremendous amount of change, and the other part of it is it's an old Texas town. So there are going to be some old kind of legacy restaurants that may or may not move your needle. I mean, I'll just cut right to it. You guys, I mean, there's a lot of conversation to be had about barbecue, and we could just kind of focus on that. Now, typically, people will say, like, well, Texas, you guys do beef, and in the South, the South, we do ribs and pork shoulder, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would say, though, that anyone coming from Auburn, I know I've had Saws in Birmingham, right? And that struck me as a place that was a little bit more kind of looking at barbecue from a contemporary sense, meaning when you get the sides, the collard greens, they're not cooked to death. So Texas has had a lot of that lately. I call it craft barbecue. So if you're in Waco, there is a restaurant called Terry Black's. Now, full disclosure, Terry Black's, it has a couple locations. They're on the newer side. They're actually related to a legacy family, an old school barbecue joint out in Lockhart. These two nephews decided to do their own thing. And dare I say, the student has surpassed the teacher. So I think Terry Black's is a perfect, easy example of contemporary craft Texas barbecue that's in Waco. And they're one of the few restaurants that I think has been able to scale and preserve a certain kind of quality. And that's just an easy lift. You want to go and see what the big deal is with brisket in the last few years, you can go to Terry Black's. I'd also say, too, another fantastic barbecue place. Now, some barbecue place, Terry Black's is great because it's a restaurant. They have air conditioning. A lot of these barbecue places that have opened up in the last few years to a lot of fanfare, they're food trucks, they're trailers. So they'll have their huge pits, but then they're basically operating out of a food truck. You will be sitting outside. It's real hot in Texas. I'm just going to say that. I know you guys are talking about weather, so just fair warning. This is worth the sweat, but Halberd Barbecue is absolutely fantastic. They're an example of contemporary craft Texas barbecue, but they are doing some really amazing stuff. Like, yes, you're going to get the Trinity, the brisket, the ribs. They make a lot of these places too, guys. Like, the barbecue tradition here came from Czech immigrants in the 1800s, and they brought their Eastern European sausage making skills to it. And a lot of these guys take pride in still doing it from scratch, making the sausage, literally, with the casing and all that. They do superb sausage, and the Trinity, just so you know, for everyone coming up, is going to be brisket, spare ribs, and Texas sausage. Halberg's got that. They do a fried chicken. It's crazy. It doesn't even have breading. He smokes the chicken till it's almost done, then he drops it in beef tallow. And I'll be the first person. Yeah, I'll be the first. Now, there's no breading, so I'll be the first person to say, certainly in Austin, that's where I'm at, not a big fried chicken town. The best fried chicken in Austin, to be honest, is Gus's, which is, not even from Texas. But I digress.
What'd you say it was?
This is great fried chicken. It's great fried chicken at Halberd.
Yeah, and I can see that skin just getting so crispy when you do that. Kind of like when you do smoked wings and throw them in the fryer. But then with the beef tallow, oh my gosh.
It's literally exactly what happens. The skin will get crisp. I think, it's funny, real talk, guys. I don't go out for wings these days. So expensive. It's so expensive. Mm-hmm. Wings are not hard to make on the grill because there's enough fat on there that when you throw it on a fire, it's good. The skin gets crispy enough. Toss it in some butter, some Frank's Red Hots, dash of honey. You're good to go. You just saved yourself a lot of money compared to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Absolutely.
It's crazy especially, you're talking about the guy who had a show called Cheap Eats. So if the premise was $35 a day, that sounds like I did it 100 years ago. But I will say this on the cheap eats tip. Them Baylor kids, Baylor's a private school. It's a very nice school, very great football stadium. Very nice campus. They pay out in Waco, so bring your wallet. I was kind of surprised when
they
I
got
saw
old
some
money.
of the prices. Yeah. I mean, look, medical. Yeah, there's been stuff happening there. I'd also add to, if you're in Waco. So I will say there's going to be two areas. Okay, don't be scared if when I'm telling you some of these restaurants, you have to go to Woodway. Woodway is an area that's grown. Waco's kind of blown up, right? You had the Chip and Joanna Gaines, like they kind of blew the place up a lot. It's developed, it's changed. And there's a new area that's kind of growing, at least for restaurants to open up. So that's where you'll find Hellberg Barbecue, another great, it's like 20 minutes. And then, and also say too, there's another restaurant in Woodway called Butcher's Cellar. And that is a contemporary steakhouse. The two kind of primary chefs there, they actually were on Hell's Kitchen together. They became a couple, and they're actually having a kid. So, pretty charming little story there. But they do a contemporary steakhouse. The interior is very contemporary. I feel like they robbed the design within reach and a standard hotel. So, it's not old school, but the food's great. In fact, that's kind of why I like contemporary steakhouses. They were doing this fantastic, 10-ounce Wagyu burger. There's a lot of local, some of the ranchers here raise Wagyu, so it's Wagyu by bloodline. So it's the Japanese cattle. Right. It's not going to be as marbled as some of those crazy things you'll see on YouTube. So, you can actually eat a larger portion of it. But that's a big part of the conversation in the food scene here, certainly with to a degree, certainly steakhouses and stuff like that. But Butcher's Cellar, Hellberg, they're both in Woodway. You've got Terry Black's in Waco proper. I just, it's college football, guys. How could you not want to just, get some barbecue? You got yourself a steakhouse. If you want to go to a little kind of local, kind of casual lunchy place, there's this place called Health Camp, and it almost looks like it's basically like an independent fast food restaurant, if that makes sense. It's just like an old school legacy burgers and shake joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ollie Kahn from Food Network Cooking Channel and at Ollie Eats on YouTube. We'll be back in just a minute. Now, one more tailgating segment.